time of the year for parent-teacher interviews, when we find out how things are really going at school. But should you take your child to those meetings? That's today's Daily Dilemma. Please welcome Margaret Rafferty from Kidspot.com.au. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
This is a difficult question.
It is, and I think many of us have children who we think, well, should I give the teacher an opportunity to speak frankly? or should I take them along so that they can hear what the teacher has to say in a more private setting, you know, just one-on-one or with your parent as well. And it is a dilemma, and I think there's two main things to consider. The first is, what's the school's policy? Because particularly in primary school, many of them will say, we don't want the kids along. But if they can, and particularly in secondary school, bringing the kids along is great because the children have to buy into it. I mean, you can lead a child to study, but you can't make them learn unless you...
Can't make them think.
No.
I enjoyed this article. I found it quite helpful because I wouldn't bring my daughters to their parent-teacher meeting, but I must confess I get very nervous at parent-teacher meetings. I do, and I feel quite, especially... with my eldest daughter, her teacher is fantastic, but she's strict and she even frightens me. So I'm like, oh. So this was quite good to have some tips about preparing for the meeting.
It is all about preparation. Don't do what I did, which is forget that parent-teacher is on and then kind of turn up and try and elbow your way into a spare gap. Not appreciated. But being prepared is good, having some questions, talking to your child about their concerns.
I liked that one. I thought that was good.
Yeah, because then they feel like they're part of the process and involved in it and not just some pawn in the whole chessboard of education.
Is the general idea that if your kid's going really well, bring them, and if they're not, just leave them at home?
No, that's actually the opposite, Joe, because if they're not doing so well, it's a really great opportunity to bring them along to hear the good things they're doing. Because no matter how much a rat bag the kid might be, there's always going to be something they've done well.
Which I thought was very interesting in this thing, because it actually says if the teacher doesn't say something good about your kid, make them. Like actually ask the teacher, say, well, can you tell me what, young Billy is doing well?
Doesn't it depend on what the concerns might be?
Of course.
I know that when my son was at school and we had parent-teacher nights, there was one teacher that was not looking after the interests of my son as well as he could have. And the next thing I know, my son has abandoned art and then he abandoned kayaking, all because of this one teacher.
Right.
And I needed to find out why this was happening, and then I found out it was happening with some of the other boys as well. So there was a problem at the school, which was much better for me to raise alone with the teacher. So I think it depends what you want to discuss.
But see, to me, I hope the school would provide you with that opportunity separate from the parent-teacher.
Yeah, I would have thought it out. It was just opportune that it happened.
And this piece does actually say that. It says, because this is written by a teacher and a parent, obviously, who says if you do actually want to raise something with the teacher privately, pick another discreet time aside from the parent-teacher interview. Because the most important thing is that we pretend everything's okay.
Well, I think parent-teacher interviews are more about refining the process rather than drawing up a whole new plan, and that's something good for parents to remember too. And it's just one opportunity in the year. You know, most schools will give you plenty of chances to chat if you've got worries.
Margaret, thanks for joining us. Much appreciated. And to have your say on this topic, you can head to the website for all the details.